The Isla Paradiso Bunch, episode 67. Welcome, Carrots here. The Sims are coming to the end of their current visit to China. There's just a few little things to tidy up. They are mostly relaxing at the market. There's a bit of swimming and reading. Jeannie's gone to report in with some of her mercury that she's been collecting. There's Sam arriving to deliver his. I think you saw this bit in the last episode, at the end of episode 66. But you'll know that we've picked up from where we left off. Once everybody who's got mercury or copper to deliver has done so, there are only two of them left who have got current adventures. Craig's adventure requires him to move on to France, and Judy has an adventure that she needs to work on here in China. So we'll get her adventure started, but we'll probably leave for France very quickly. Now, the adventure that Judy has got is assisting an elder. My elderly grandfather lives on the other side of China. Despite his roots here in Shang Simla, he longs to see a relic from Shang Simla. My family is wealthy and will pay handsomely for Sims who deliver 3 ancient or older Chinese relics to Lu Xiu. Now, Judy just happens to have the required relics in her inventory. However, Judy doesn't appear to be in any great hurry to deliver the 3 ancient relics she's got in her inventory. She's at the Phoenix Martial Arts Academy, working hard to improve her martial arts skill. It's very useful for a sim who likes to adventure to have a level 10 in their martial arts. It helps them get some of the more advanced adventures. But it's getting dark. It's getting close to the end of the day. I'll get her to report in. She's getting a bit more adventurous with her martial arts of the way she's attacking that dummy. All of this activity is not a part of an adventure for her. She's simply improving her skill. They've all completed or at least most of them have completed their adventures that they've got here. There's only Judy and Craig left with adventures, and Craig's adventure requires him to travel to France. So we will be leaving for France as soon as Judy has completed some more of this adventure that she's about to report in for. Getting encouragement there. Looks like she's getting quite smelly too. The sun is going down. The sky's growing pink. She's getting close to achieving the next level in her skill. It certainly takes a lot of hard work. Looks like she's got a bit too tired. She's going to stop. Needs to go and have a shower now. At least they've got showers inside at the Martial Arts Academy. Now it's a little bit later and she's ready to continue with her adventure. She's had a rest and a shower, and now she's off to report in. This is the chap she was talking to at the academy. He's gone home now too. Another favour for an elder. Of course, this turns out to be yet another adventure chain, and she's got us do another little adventure. My grandfather loves the pieces you found him, but now he wants you to speak to Shen Su to obtain an item loaned to Sen Shu long ago. If you do this, my grandfather has a great surprise for you. So Judy has set off to find Shen Su. She heads back towards the market, where she locates Shen Su waiting just inside the door of the halls of the Lost Army. Of course, she doesn't know him, so he refuses to speak to her when she walks up to him and asks for his information. But Judy's got some experience now. She didn't come down in the last shower. She turns on the charm and gives him a charismatic introduction. And this wins him over completely. And he can't wait to give her all of the information that she needs, and he even gives her the thing that she asks for. Which of course leads to another adventure. And surprise, surprise, there's hearts. But Judy's not interested. She's got things to do in the adventure chain that she's on. This one is no late fees. How shameful of me. Yes, it's true. Shang Hua loaned me this artifact for a historical study I was conducting. Oh, it must be years ago now. Here, take it back. I should have done so many years ago. Off Judy goes to return the artifact. And of course, that's not the end of things. When she reports in and hands over the missing object, she gets another adventure. Descendants of the Guard. How kind of you, yet again. My grandfather is a direct descendant of the first emperor's imperial guardsman. He knows the history of the great emperors, their secrets and their treasures. He has sent me this key for you to investigate the tomb of the first emperor. Go now. There's no time for that in this episode. It's a complicated little tomb. It will take Judy a while to complete it, so she can go home and have a rest, so she's ready to leave for France first thing in the morning. Back at home, Craig is telling a ghost story to Hayley. Later on, Hayley, who is a genie, has a quick chat with Sam. Basically, the Sims are just chilling out and having a quiet time at home, getting ready for their big journey that will start in the morning. Meryl's heading home too, but she's not in a hurry to get home. She's just doing a walk. You rarely see Sims walking like that. They normally run everywhere. Muriel's chatting with Craig outside near where they go fishing. They're all around the house. Now Jeannie and Sam are having a chat. Oh no, they're not. Jeannie is going to take some DNA from Sam. Now this could add a bit of complication to things. Got to make a decision here. Sam's DNA. With that, Jeannie could clone Sam. But if she travels to France with his DNA in her pocket, it will either vanish or turn into her DNA. I'm not sure which. I've had this happen to me before. It's obviously a glitch. And I've had a Sim take DNA from a townie in France and then travel back home to use the science machine at their own home and find that they only had their own DNA in their pocket, not their Sim's DNA from France. So to clone that Sim that I wanted to clone her at the time, I had to invite her to visit him from France, and she did that, and he got her DNA again, and he eventually managed to get the clone. If we're going to be leaving for France in the morning, it looks like we won't be able to use that lot of Sam's DNA. Although it would be fun, we don't have a child who is just a human at this point. We've only got 2 genies, who are Hayley's daughters, 2 plant Sim boys who belong to Judy, and a mermaid that Judy cloned from Triton King. They're the toddlers we've got waiting for them back at home in Isla Paradiso. So it could have been fun to have a human toddler, but I think we will just head off for France because it might take a long time to clone him. Or I could have a go at cloning him tonight and just see what happens before morning. But do we really want a clone of Sam? Probably not. There's Sam sleeping in his bed while everybody else is having a bit of a meeting in his bedroom while he tries to sleep. So Hayley's getting in with him. They're obviously quite good friends. Judy's practicing her magic. She's a witch. She's the only witch in the household. There's 3 genies in the household. Their names are Hayley, Jeannie and Josephine. But Josephine's back in Isla Paradiso. She did travel this time. She's a hot-headed genie. So Sam's got up. He's had enough sleep. He's ready to head off. Now this is where the tomb is that Judy has just got the key to. It's down underneath the terracotta army. Judy will do it, but it won't be in this episode. It'll probably be another 2 or 3 or 4 episodes even before we get to that tomb. The decision's been made. It's time to leave China and travel to France. So Craig dials it in. Off they go. France, not Egypt. Yes. Sometimes you have to be really aware of where you're going to. Yes, 21 days. That should give them enough time to do what they've got to do there. Sam's got to get changed. They're not going anywhere in your jammies, Sam. Off he goes. So they've got their holiday house in China, and they've got another one in Shangri-La, which is where they're going now, to France. But we will be back in China shortly. They've got 3 more parts of the tomb collection to find in China. They've got all of the tomb collection for Egypt, and they've got 3 more items to pick up in France. And now we're travelling to France. We'll see what happens when we arrive. Jeannie has an adventure or an opportunity to ask out for a Sim, where she's got to ask Jean-Luc out on a date with somebody else. She's had this opportunity for a while, waiting for when she got back to France. So she made a mad rush for this house, which is where Jean-Luc Pivert lives. When I clicked on it for her to ask out for a Sim, she ran off somewhere completely different. And it's not even this Jean-Luc, so I have no clue why I found her here when they arrived. The rest of them have all gone to the house that they own in Champs-les-Sims. But Jeannie came here for some strange reason. So now she's heading off to the correct Jean-Luc's house. We're not going to do very much with their individual adventures in this video because we're going to have a party, but we'll just start out with this first one. The thing is that Hayley is engaged to Salty, and over the last few days when I've had this game running, I'm getting constant reminders that Hayley needs to have a bachelorette party. Well, Hayley's already had a bachelorette party. She had one way back when she first got engaged to Salty. So Jeannie's found Jean-Luc Beaumont and popped the question. Of course, he won't speak to her because he doesn't know her from a bar of salt. So I got her to do the charismatic introduction, which solved the problem, and then she was able to ask him the question and report in with success. It gets easier as your Sims get more experience and more skills. And completing these little adventures helps with visa points and money and ancient coins and experience. Meanwhile, Sam was excavating at an excavation site that I noticed while Jeannie was travelling to visit Jean-Luc. Craig went to the nectary because he is working towards some nectary-related opportunities, and he caught a butterfly while he was there, and then he needs grapes to make some nectar, so I got him to harvest the grapes growing at the nectary and left him to it. Meanwhile, Jeannie's got home and she's had a little encounter with Meryl. This is the house that they live in, their home away from home in France. They have an interesting relationship, and they do love the school cheer, this crowd. Maybe she's celebrating because Meryl has left the room. They've got plenty of money and there's a lot of them, so I put them in that huge house at 500 Lilac Court. And then we decided that they should have a bit of a garden. And they're having some issues with the sprinklers. And I've got Judy there, she's a witch, and she's magically upgrading the sprinkler to auto sprinkle. But Sam's having a lot of fun playing in the sprinkler. The big problem I've got with this, of course, is there's a lot of paths just on the other side of those little hedges. And I have to move the sprinklers around so they don't wet the paths, or the Sims spend their entire days and nights mopping up the paths. Everybody seems to be interested in the newly upgraded sprinkler, and of course Judy is enjoying having a bit of a play in the sprinkler. But I'm going to just have a quick look around the exterior of their holiday or their vacation home before moving on to the next part of the story. There's so much happening here in this house, we don't need any adventures today. There's something else the game is doing at the moment with this crew that is annoying me slightly, but at this point I haven't done anything to stop it, and that they are all becoming romantic interests with several of each other. Some of them have as many as 3 romantic interests in the group. Hopefully it'll all sort itself out in the end without too much more trouble. But there's lots of messages coming up about them getting various types of reputations. Manipulative and naughty and cheating and I don't know, things I don't usually see. And here we see an example of it. That's Sam and Judy taking a photo together. Meanwhile, I think Judy and Muriel are romantic interests, but Muriel's got at least 3 romantic interests. So I'm not too sure how serious the situation is. Hopefully it'll all just vanish when they get back to their home, Isla Paradiso, because they've been on vacation doing adventures in various worlds for quite a while now, just the 7. They haven't been home to see the other 2 young adults or any of their toddlers. They've got 5 toddlers at home, I think. Anyway, here we go, there's the mailbox. They all seem to want to take romantic photos with each other, but the thing is that I'm constantly getting asked to do a bachelorette party for Hayley. I've discovered that her fiancé, Salty, is a tourist in France at the moment as well, although he doesn't come to the house, but he keeps popping up saying that she really needs to have a bachelorette party. Now, I'm not keen for them to have a bachelorette party for Hayley because she's already had one. And that was when Mia Azul died at that party because I neglected to keep an eye on things. Anyway, she's going to have another bachelorette party shortly because I just got sick of being constantly told she needs a bachelorette party. Meanwhile, life goes on in the household, including the occasional alien abduction. I think just about all of them get abducted at least once during this trip to France. Here's Judy going for her little ride with the aliens. And then she comes back, as usual. There she is. She's not too upset with her alien. But the alien doesn't go in the space car. Takes off in that little blue car that's been left sitting there for a while. I think with one of the abductions, the alien actually left afterwards on a push bike. Things are a bit different in France, apparently. I've decided this is the room for the party. And Meryl's constantly dancing in it. She just loves to dance. Sims. She doesn't mind having to dance by herself. It's a bit empty at this point. Won't be able to have much of a party unless we put something else in there. You know, things like tables with food and chairs to sit in, somewhere for them to eat, a few chocolate fountains or something similar. While Meryl's at home dancing on her own, Jeannie has been invited to a party at one of the French townies' homes. There's not a lot happening, but there are a few other Sims there. I suppose she's getting out of the house and meeting some of the locals. Back at home, Craig's decided to risk having a slow dance with Meryl. So far, so good. I've also noticed that something different about Craig, and I see he's got a new moodlet. It says, wait for it, unexpected weight gain. We could have a problem coming here, I think. Let him relax and dance with Meryl for a while, then we'll prepare for Hayley's big party. I'll only invite a few female guests. Try to keep it small this time, so it doesn't get out of hand. And of course Craig's playing with fire, dancing with Meryl like that, because she is a gold digger and all she wants is a wealthy spouse so she can see his ghost. And Craig's wealthy, he better be careful. And of course Hayley's fiancé Salty is a gold digger too, and Hayley is wealthy, and we're having a bachelorette party for her because Salty wants her to have a wedding shortly. Plenty of time for them to get to work with their gardening. Craig's planting a few seeds. They want to make sure that they've got all the harvestables that they're going to need for future adventures in France. Or I suppose they could always pop back here to pick something if they need it in a different world. I have obliterated their garden in their home in Isla Paradiso just to try to save memory. I'm also removing a whole lot of mods. I've taken about a gigabyte worth mods out of my mods folder, and I've put the Isla Paradiso bunch save in its own Sims 3 folder. See what I mean? How they just stand there and mop up from the sprinklers all the time. Got to shift those sprinklers so they're not wetting the path. Poor Craig, he finishes planting all those seeds, comes into the kitchen to find a kitchen catastrophe waiting for him to fix. And here's Hayley. She's been taking a little break after working out on her martial arts skills. And being a genie, I got her to make the house all shiny and sparkly as she went out of the room. While Hayley went upstairs to have a little rest before the party, some of the others decided to fool around in the garden with the sprinklers. They had a lot of fun. After playing in the sprinkler for a while, we find Craig and Meryl back in the party room dancing. I think it's time we interrupted this dance to decorate the room. Party will be on shortly. Hayley decided to go back and do a bit more work on the training dummy. She wanted to improve her martial arts skill a bit. Craig, on the other hand, had a little job to do for one of his adventures. He needed 3 bottles of a very nice or better nectar to deliver to the nectary. And he had his grapes that he'd picked earlier, so he added them to the vat and made his nectar. So that was preparing while they had their party later on. He sure is looking a little bit chubby in his swimmers. Once he's finished squishing the fruit, he will set the machine off to continue processing while he goes off and does something else. And after the party, he'll be able to come and collect his 3 bottles of nectar. And if it is very nice or better quality, he will be able to take it to the nectary and complete that part of his adventure. Craig went straight down to the party room, which has now begun to be set up. I bet you thought that was never going to happen. So he is having fun dancing to the music that seems to be constantly playing. Craig went to check out the new microwave in the kitchen and discovered to his horror that there was now 2 sinks that were leaking, needing repair. And the floor was flooded and the benches were filthy and his housemates were just standing there talking about it. And the party was about to begin. There's a new blender as well that he hasn't got excited about yet. Well, that's 1 sink fixed. Just got 1 more sink to do and mop the floor and clean down the bench. He got all that done in plenty of time. And the party doesn't start for ages yet. So I don't know. Oh, there goes Sam. He's heading off outside into the garden. They've got a little back door that leads from the kitchen to the garden. I have to go out there now and see what's going on outside. So here comes Craig. He's finished in the kitchen. That's the door into the kitchen that he just came out of. He's getting a definite pregnancy waddle now, isn't he? That unexpected weight gain moodlet has this effect on male Sims. Sam's having fun in the sprinkler. Oh, so Craig is in the mood for cleaning up again. This time he's mopping the path. I thought I'd move that sprinkler so that it didn't wet the path, but obviously a little bit of water's getting over there onto the path. There's Hayley. She needs to change into her party outfit soon. Party starts at 5 o'clock. It's probably just a little bit early yet. Jeannie, the red coat. So Hayley and Jeannie are both genies. Craig and Sam are both just ordinary humans. And so is Muriel. And Meryl for that matter as well. They're all humans. And that just leaves Judy, who is the witch. And her cat hates her. Keeps tearing up, shredding her feet. Fortunately, the cat doesn't travel with them, so Judy's feet are safe wherever they are in adventuring worlds. Craig's had enough of the garden. I think he's got some hint of an idea that there could be something happening in the kitchen, so he's gone back inside. The kitchen's a mess. Nobody bothered to clean up the floor. There's Craig, he's arrived. Hayley's just finished cooking something. Judy and Craig are now dancing on the counters. There's guests arriving. Yes, there were 2 aliens in the list of Sims that were able to be invited to this party, so I invited both of them on the assumption that at least one of them is responsible for Craig's condition, and I've decided that she, whoever she may be, is going to pay for what she did to poor Craig. I must admit that when I saw all of this activity going on in the kitchen, I was a little concerned that my efforts in setting up the party room might be wasted and the whole party might just happen in the kitchen. Sims could do that sort of thing to you. But a quick trip into the party room revealed that I needn't have worried. There were enough Sims in there for it to be a fun party in the room I prepared. I've managed to do this room up without using too much custom content. I think the only content I've used are some pictures on the walls. There's some bunny chairs from around The Sims 3 and a punch bowl that operates as a chocolate fountain, so you need the chocolate fountain for it to work. It's from around The Sims 3 as well. Those chairs around the table that you can see on the right there, that's the bunny chairs from around The Sims 3. There is a chocolate fountain from the game, but the other one is at the other end of the room, and it's got a bowl with little cups all around it, and it's orange, and it also works as a chocolate fountain. Now, I know some of the pictures that I've put on the wall are one lot, which are over the music machine, are Paint by Numbers series by Bau5. That's Baufive. I got them from an archive somewhere that I came across them by accident, and I will never be able to find them again. And something else which I also got in a similar archive. In buy mode it says Summer Days Painting Big OM for Indigo, and I have no more information than that on them. But I think they are long gotten rid of from the original makers, wherever it was they had them, and they've gone into some sort of an archive somewhere. Now back to the party. I don't know who half of these Sims are. Actually, I don't know who almost any of these Sims are. I think that little bowl on that table is from ATS3 as well. Yeah, these Sims are all strangers. I didn't invite any men, and I think that's Lambert, whatever his first name is. He might have come with the woman from that household. But anyways, they're dancing and having fun. But one that Judy's dancing with is Leo Detil, so they're becoming quite chummy. I don't know who that one in the middle there in green is, but she's dancing and having fun. There does seem to be a few extra Sims that I didn't invite, but then I just clicked randomly on any female Sim just to get a few there at the party. So I don't really mind if extras showed up, as long as the game can handle it. And the dancers have arrived. I didn't expect 2 of them. Oh, that rabbit on the wall, that's from Sin Pah. It's a Dura painting, and so is that one on the left. That's also from Sin Pah. They're both worth 10 environment points, that's why I use them a lot. And they're very cheap, like they're under 100 simoleons each, I think, around about that sort of price anyway. Those rabbit chairs are fun, the ones around the table. So they've only got one music box that they've put on the table. Little berets on their heads, little black shorts. It's a bit hard to get a shot of the entire room because there are just so many Sims and so many things in the way, and the room isn't all that big, so it keeps on getting the walls in the way when I try to spin it around a bit. Looks like the meal is just hamburgers. I think there's vegetarian ones there as well. Craig's getting bigger and he's hungry. Right over on the other side there, one of those aliens, she's changed into a skirt and top. She's got a white top and a pinkish coloured long skirt on. Don't have any control over the aliens. Don't have any control over most of what's going on in this room. I'm just watching. Even my own Sims, I'm not really interacting with them, just letting them go and see what happens. Was Hayley being a bit of a genie there. Hello, the other alien has changed as well. She's got little shorts on and a top. So both of the aliens are no longer in alien gear. They must be trying to blend. Hello, there goes a bottle of champagne. Every so often somebody throws champagne at somebody else. Well, I'm thinking I might just leave this party here, because this has gone on for almost half an hour, and I'm sure you've had enough. We will continue with the party in the next episode. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. There is still more action to come in this party. I've already played through, and there are quite a few interesting things about to happen, but we'll have to wait until the next episode to see them, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. If you're interested and you haven't already subscribed, perhaps you'd like to try subscribing. Click the little bell to make sure you get notified of when I post another video. It will probably be a couple of weeks before I'm back with the next video, because I've got some health issues that I've got to deal with in the meantime. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and happy simming.